Hello, my name is Jacqueline King-Poindexter-Beane, and my topic is dispositions. Um, what disposition will make me a good teacher? I believe the disposition of learners. Um, Educators should believe that all children are capable of learning, and they should have realistic expectation for their children. Meaning, I can't ask a kindergartner to be at a level of, like I say, a fifth grader or even a first grader. My expectation should be set so that a kindergartner can achieve that level and be able to blossom and grow without feeling disappointed, neglected, or defeated. It's up to me to make sure that that kindergartner has that level of learning where they're comfortable, where they can grow and blossom and make it to first grade. That is their goal, is to make it to the next level, which would be to first grade. If I cannot sit there and make sure that that kindergartner has that, then I feel that I am not doing my job to help them with their growth and development. Number two, what disposition do you need to work on before you become a teacher, before you become a first-year teacher? Again, I don't want my expectations to be too high. So I have to know as a teacher where my expectations where the bar is set for my expectations. Because if I set it too high, like I stated earlier, then the children will be set up for failure. And that is not my job, to set up children for failure. My job is to set them up for success. My job is to make sure that they can achieve the goal that is set forth and set in front of them. My goal is never to make sure that a child is set up for failure. For I feel that if a child fails, I've done something wrong, and I've enabled them to fail by not setting my bar to the point where it should be set. Number three, how does the disposition, I'm sorry, I need glasses sometimes. How do the dispositions demonstrate your ability to understand other cultures, genders, and learning differences, to build stronger relationships with the students and families, and how do you protect them? And how does it affect my teaching? Because I am of color, I am Black and Native American, I am cultured and I am diverse. My daughter was a lesbian, so I have gender, I'm familiar with the different genders and gender equality and the fights for gender appreciation and acceptance. Learning disabilities, my daughter also had a learning disability. She had to do speech and language, and it affected her in the way she did things. So I'm versed in several things, but I feel that as a teacher, I have to be open-minded to that, and I have to make sure that I know what strength and weaknesses children have. I have to know that if a child is struggling, what can I do to help them cope with that struggling skill? And what can I do to make sure that they have the resources and the needs, and that families have the resources and needs to make sure that child is successful? What can I do to make sure that different groups and different cultures have an understanding and have support that they need from teachers, colleagues, and the community? I can be proactive in these things to make sure that children with special needs, that their needs are met, And if I see that they need something they're not getting, I can have resources, and I can get resources from my peers and colleagues to make sure that the needs of all children are being met, whether it's special need, whether there's a gender issue, or whether it's a cultural issue. I believe that no child can be left behind, and that every child has the right to learn and should be able to learn without any biases, no inequalities, whether you come from a socioeconomic difficult situation, or whether you have a learning deficit, or whether you have a cultural deficit and you don't know the language. We always have resources. And as a teacher, we have to find those resources, and we have to be available to the families and the communities and to ourselves to know that we can make a difference so that children can learn and grow. It is our job as educators to make sure that no child is left behind. Number 4. How do you anticipate using feedback from your performance, evaluations, observations, and data on student performance to adjust your disposition and teaching practices to benefit the learner. Evaluations, data collected, performance observations, and things like that are all used to monitor you, so that you can know your successes and your weaknesses. By using the data collected and by getting the feedback from your administrators, observers, and peers and colleagues, you can use that to enhance your learning skills. You can use that to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to go take another class to help me gain more knowledge and success on what needs to be done. Feedback is very important, because if you're doing it wrong, you will never know unless someone tells you it's being done wrong. Therefore, you accept the criticism. They're constructive criticisms. You take the good with the bad. And people will point out to you that you're doing it this way, but this way can be done better. That's positive feedback. Positive feedback can help you grow. And sometimes with that positive feedback, you might need to take the extra class so that you learn and grow and blossom. Take that with a grain of salt, and you should not be offended by it. But these are things that we need so that we can educate our learners to make sure that we have the proper instruction in order for them to be successful. Sometimes success is hard, so we will always have those particular children who need that extra attention and extra help. It's up to us as educators to make sure our learners, to make sure our students have what they need to succeed. Without that, we do a disservice to them. And I never want to be that person that does a disservice to my children. I always want to make sure that they get ahead and that they can prosper, they can grow, and they can learn. If there's a resource in the community that a family needs, or that children need, or that people need, I should be there along with my colleagues, peers, and resources in the community to make sure that no child is left behind. I'm a strong believer no child should ever be left behind. If a child is left behind, that means we are left behind. We're only as strong as our weakest link. And if we let our weakest link linger, that means we are not doing our job morally, ethically, or socially. Thank you.